You're recording.
It is the Sabbath of return, Shabbat Shuvah. From Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur, we examined our souls. We embrace our true selves, the core of being that is aligned with that still small voice that guides us on our way. Tonight is the greatest gift given to us by God. It is Shabbat. Let us bring in its light, warmth, and love. We continue on page 120 in our prayer books, and we invite Jill and Mark Goldblatt up to light our candles in honor of their 45th wedding anniversary. And Mark just told me that 55 years ago today was his bar mitzvah. So it's a double whammy. We've got a bar mitzvah and an anniversary celebration. Now that's teamwork. Beautiful. Blessed are you, Adonai, God, sovereign of the universe. Tells us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. We need also our Shabbat angels to join us as well tonight. So if you turn in your prayer book to page 142 and join us in Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashaveh, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Say Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Enter in peace, O messengers of peace, angels of the Most High, Majesty of majesties, Holy One of blessing. Page 147. Oh God, you are as near as the very air we breathe, yet farther than the farthermost star. We yearn to reach you. We seek the light and warmth of your presence. Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone. Let our desire to be so strong that it will tear the veil that keeps you from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence. We rise for our call to worship. Page 149. Please be seated. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change. Within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother? Adonai, Alahari, Aravi. Page 151. And we speak of God's love for us. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Page 154. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם שבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לתותבות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Emet, emet. It is true. Do we truly understand freedom until it's taken away? As Americans, we generally take our freedom for granted. As Jews, we consciously try not to forget. But do we? We forget how our ancestors were freed by God from slavery in Egypt. We forget how our country's early leaders fought for our independence. We forget how families were broken, ensuring that all of our citizens are free. We forget about the ones who fought and still fight for equality of gender. We forget until our freedom to choose how we live is restricted. The wake-up call only comes when we are affected, but we must always try to remember, until we are all free, we are none of us free. Page 158, Michamocha.
Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha nehador ha'kodesh, Noah tehilo oseh v'aleh malchutecha rahuvanaka bokeh ayam lifnei Moshe ze'eli hanuri amaru Adonai lo le'olam va'ed.
Page 162. People of Israel shall keep Shabbat. Observing Shabbat throughout the ages is a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed. Continue with our tefillah on page 164. Please rise.
Adonai shepotachita ufi agite ilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Eloheinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Ha'or, V'zocher Chashdeo V'imao, U'mei Mali B'nei B'neihem, Le'ma'an Shemo Ve'ahava, Zachreinu, Zachreinu, Zachreinu Le'chaim, Melech, Melech, Havesh B'chaim, Ve'modeinu, Ve'chodeinu, B'Shem HaKodesh, Le'mancha, Elohim Chai.
Sovereign deliverer, helper, and shield. Blessed are you, Adonai, Sarah's helper, Abraham's shield. Please be seated. We read together on page 169. We pray that we might know for whom we stand, the power whose gift is life, who quickens those who have forgotten how to live. We pray for the winds to disperse the choking air of sadness, for cleansing rains to make parched hopes flower, and to give all of us the strength to rise up toward the sun. We pray for love to encompass us, for no other reason save that we are human, for love through which we may all blossom into persons who have gained power over our own lives. We pray to stand upright, we fallen, to be healed, we suffer. We pray to break the bonds that keep us from the world of beauty. We pray for opened eyes, we who are blind to our own authentic selves. We pray that we may walk in the garden of a purposeful life, Our own powers in touch with the power of the world. Praise be the God whose gift is life, whose cleansing rays let parched men and women flower. Baruch atah Adonai Echayei HaKol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh v'kadoshim b'kol yom yalelucha senda. Baruch atah Adonai HaMelech HaKadosh. Page 173.
Responsive things. Disturb us, Adonai, ruffle us from our complacency, make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, quietude which arises from a shunning of the horror, the defeat, the bitterness, and the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans.
Shock us, Adonai. Deny to us the false Shabbat, which gives us the delusions of satisfaction amid a world of war and hatred.
Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and movement prayers of yesteryears.
Make us know that the border of the sanctuary is not the border of living, and the walls of your temples are not shelters from the winds of truth, justice, and reality.
Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action.
Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 179. This is my favorite interpretive prayer for the Shalom Ra. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within its borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Now take a moment of silent prayer and reflection.
Hey, oh, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. Lo yisrael goy heret, lo yimadu od milchama, lo yisrael goy heret. Lo yimadu od milchama, hey yo, oh hey yo, hey yo, oh hey yo. Don't walk in front of me, I may not follow. Don't walk behind me, I may not lead. Just walk beside me and be my friend. Together we will walk along hand in hand. Hey, oh, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, Hallel.
We now come to a time in our service where we think of those who are ill of body, mind, or spirit. And we pray for refuah shalema for all of their ills. Please turn to page 371 for our prayers of healing. Yishaberach avotinu v'imotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu yivarech et hacholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. We have a long list of people tonight to take into our hearts. For refuah shalema, Minerva Abedin, Bill Bear, and Henry Botak, Karen Jamblies, Reese Corley, Eve Alfasi, Nicole Greenblatt, Celia Grossman, Erwin Hale, Diana Holtzman, Bob Holtzapple, Rachel Herndon, David Kay, Evelyn Crane, Robert Kraling, Diana Landau, Lori Licker, Dina Miles, Hillary Miles, Matthew Murin, Betty Navarrete, Vladimiro Kienek, Stuart Rossinger, Pam Siegel, Patty Siegel, Kelsey Sieber, Sarah Jane Victor, Arthur Weinberger, Doris Weintraub, Maxine Wasserman, and Jody Wellman. There are other names you'd like to share, please do so at this time.
Nat K.
Nat K.
Laura Del Valle.
Peter Goldblatt, Michael Goldblatt, Tyson Goldblatt, Matt.
We also take into our heart all of the victims of COVID, and we pray for refuah shlema, for complete healing for all of them and all their loved ones who are suffering as well. Let us join our voices together in our beautiful Misha Berach prayer in the middle of the page.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Laimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mikor HaBracha Avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Well, dear friends, tonight is Erev 9/11. 20 years ago, there was an attack on our country that killed 3,000 people, many more since then, suffering from the effects of having been poisoned as they went in to try to save people, all the first responders. And our nation was sent then into a shock of loss and fear. Remember breezing through airports? Remember that sense of safety and well-being that we had as a people and as a nation? Pearl Harbor was far from our memory, and no one could harm us now, or so we thought. The parallels between 9/11 and our current state of affairs are uncanny. After 9/11, people didn't gather in crowds for fear of another attack. I remember traveling into New York City on the train from DC, where I was living at the time, and being very frightened of walking through Penn Station. Someone could have infiltrated in such a public space and set up a bomb. There were police everywhere, bright yellow tapes of caution. It was a terrible time. The congregation I was serving at that time in Rockville, Maryland, many of our members worked in the Pentagon, and there were many people that died, and there was tremendous tragedy. The temple built huge stanchions in front of the sanctuary so that nobody could drive in to crash through the sanctuary. It was unbelievable. And now, look what our world is going through now. We're advised not to have large gatherings. We're wearing masks. A deadly virus can spread. We are caught as a nation and as individuals in the never-ending question that haunts us this time of the year. Who shall live and who shall die? This week, our Torah portion is called Vayelech, which means, and he went forth. As a country and a people, we moved forward from 9/11. We went forth then, just as we're desperately trying to do now. Every life is precious, and the over 6,560 people. Is that right?
For 9/11?
No, from now. It's over 500,000 people. Over 500,000 people have lost their lives in this country alone, and millions of people throughout the world from this pandemic. It will become a precious remembrance to us, just as the 9/11 victims. We pick up the pieces of our lives and we move forward. What else can we do? That is what we do. That is what we Jews do. We continue on and find ways to bring meaning into our fragile and vulnerable lives. What are the lessons we learned from 9/11? It is an old lesson. Rejoice in the day, one day at a time. Live this day as if it was your last. And what Sandy Dahl, wife of Flight 93 pilot Jason Dahl, said, if we learn nothing else from this tragedy, we learn that life is short and there is no time for hate. Yes, there's no time for hate. I don't think we've learned that lesson yet. I see some of you shaking your heads. So, yes, we do things that we can to help others, but we pray together as a community. So we turn to our prayers and reflections on this 20th anniversary of 9/11, and we'll start with a prayer from the heart, written by Hannah Senish.
Shalom yikamel olam hakol hayom rishu shamayim berach hashamayim tefillah Hadam Rishu Shamayim Barach Hashamayim Yigomer Hashamayim Tefillah Hadam. Oh God, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the water, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart.
Minoru Yamasaki, chief architect of the World Trade Center, said, "I feel this way about it. World trade means world peace, and consequently, the World Trade Center buildings in New York had a bigger purpose than just to provide room for tenants. The World Trade Center is a living symbol of man's dedication to world peace. Beyond the compelling need to make this a monument to world peace, the World Trade Center should, because of its importance, become a representation of man's belief in humanity, his need for individual dignity, his cooperation, his ability to find greatness."
Sadeh Mustafa, a television studio electrician, as he was handing out food on Friday, September 14th. An electrician knew me and said, "Mustafa, grab your toolkit." I ran cable and set up movie lights for the search. My parents are Palestinian. Islam is not terrorism. I was in the US Navy in the Gulf War. Now there was a war at home. It was my duty as a human being and an American and a New Yorker to be there.
Yossi Klein Halevi from At the Entrance to the Garden of Eden. When an Israeli hears a siren, he waits for the second one, and then he hears a third. He turns on the television. In America, though, a siren was just a siren. The horizon at the lower end of Fifth Avenue was dominated by a pillar of smoke, a demonic play on the biblical image of divine protection. Strangers gathered around radios, a familiar Israeli image. "Now it's war," one man said with a Spanish accent. When I paused to listen to his radio, an ambulance went by and all sound seemed subsumed in its siren. Everyone paused to this, waiting for the next ambulance. For the first time since I moved from Jerusalem, New York City felt like home.
Peter Hansen, aboard Flight 175, his last words, "My God, my God."
From the 9/11 report, we have come together with the unity of purpose because our nation demands it. September 11th, 2001 was a day of unprecedented shock and suffering in the history of the United States. The nation was unprepared.
In 2011, Stephen Schwartz, who wrote the musical Godspell, wrote a song for 9/11 that was played from that time forward in all shows of Godspell, called Beautiful City. Out of the ruins and rubble, out of the smoke, out of our night of struggle, can we see a ray of hope? Bright, death and rain, reaching for the day. We can build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can build a beautiful city, not a city of angels. We can build a city of man. We may not reach the ending, but we can start slowly. break heart by heart now. Maybe now we start learning how we can build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can build a beautiful city, not a city of angels, but we can build a city of man. When your trust is all but shattered, when your faith is all but killed, you can give up bitter and battered, or you can slowly start to build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can build a beautiful city, not a city of angels, but finally a city of man. A city of man.
And we have a reading that we're going to read together, responsively, please, on page 3. Open our eyes that we may see the needs of others. Open our ears that we may hear their cries. Open our hearts so that they need not be without support. Let us not be afraid to defend the weak because of the anger of the strong, nor afraid to defend the poor because of the anger of the rich. Show us where love and hope and faith are needed, and use us to bring them to those places.
So open our eyes and our ears that this day we may be able to do some work of peace for you.
Open up our eyes, teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. We will know that you are one. Those who went into danger,
We give thanks.
those who remain behind with the infirm and injured,
We give thanks.
for those who thought of others first,
We give thanks.
for those who offered comfort to others,
We give thanks.
for moments of unknown,
Grant us courage,
in times of fear,
grant us courage,
and called upon to stand for the rights of others,
grant us
Grant us
courage,
when others call for our destruction,
grant us courage.
when enemies of freedom lash out,
Bless us with your peace.
when the darkness of hatred descends,
Bless us with your peace.
when we feel the urge to trample and destroy,
Bless us with your peace.
when we look to the future of your universe.
Bless us with your peace.
Amen.
Amen.
Say shalom b'mama. We are say shalom aleinu. Ve'al Yisrael. Odimu imu.
It is never too late to start over again, to feel again, to love again, to hope again.
Amen.
Continue with our concluding prayers on page 586 in your prayer book, Our Lady. Please rise.
Alleluia, Shabbat, Adon, Hakol, Latendulanu, Sebreci, Shalom, Asanu, Havata, Allah, Samandu, Kamishkavor, Hakama, Shalom, Sam, Kalkanu, Paham, Go, Thandu, Hamonam. Vananu korim, ulefachim umodim, lefnemela, malche hamalachim, hakadosh orechu, v'ne'emar, v'hayat Adonai, v'melech al orech. Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
Please be seated. 597 in our prayer book. And our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. Creator of all, source and shelter, grant a perfect rest under your tabernacle of peace to those who died in the 9/11 attacks on the United States. Remember the works of their hands and the message of their hearts. Grant their families peace and comfort for your name's sake, and for the sake of those who perished. Bring an end to violence and terror speedily in our days. May their memories be sanctified with joy and love. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life, a living blessing in our midst. When we think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us in the period of Shiloshim, Troy Fredheim, and those who died at this season in years past, Edith Brandt, Audrey Bush, Alan Eichenbaum, Saul Frey, Charles Gross, Carol D. Gould, Rosalie Lovett, Harry A. Miles, Oscar Owens, Anne Coney Roshkin, Lillian Rossinger, Mildred Marion Solash, Jack Steinberg, Annalisa Stokler, Elsa Stokler, Morris Tannenbaum. There are other names of loved ones that you'd like to add. Yes, Linda.
Bessie Marks.
Bessie Marks. And of course, all those who have died of COVID in this our own community and throughout the world. Take them all into our hearts with our own. Zikronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. If you are comfortable rising and joining me in the Mourner's Kaddish on page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash me'raba ve'alma tivarach yirutei v'yamlich ma'chutei v'chayachonu v'yomechu uv'chayed kol beit Yisrael v'agalav v'zman karib v'yimu amen. Yesh me'raba mevarach me'alam ulal me'alayah יתברך וישתבח, יתפאר ויתרומם וינשא, יתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה, שמי דקודשה בריחו. ואלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, ושפחתה ונחמתה, דם ירן ועלמה וימרו אמן. יהי שלום רב מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו וארצו ישראל, Amen. Ose shalom b'mama, uyase shalom aleim v'yakol Yisrael, v'yakol yoshvei tevel v'imru.
Limeru, Ohimru, Maimru, Amen. Ohimru, 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 Amen.
Please be seated. And now I'd like to invite up to our bima, President of our congregation, Ms. Latkin, who has words for all of you of greeting.
Thanks. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Apologize for the technical difficulties. I'm looking at you. We'll see you in the Zoom world on recording tonight, but we will be back on YouTube Wednesday night, 7 o'clock for Kol Nidre. So we will make sure it's happening on Wednesday night. Service schedule, pretty much Thursday, we're starting at 10 a.m. I believe that service will be about 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes. There'll be a 2 p.m. family and afternoon service then, a 3:30 p.m. healing service, 4:30 p.m. Yisker service, and 5:30 p.m. Nila. And we will have sort of break fast takeaway bags for you at that point in time at 6:30 p.m. on Thursday. I believe that's what Sister Liv's plan is. Confirming, Debbie, that is the case. And then we will have, I believe it is, Linda, is it your turn on the 17th or Linda Botok Murphy to lead the service?
I believe it's the real.
The real one. LBM will be with us on the 17th. And then don't forget on September 24th, it is the Kukkah at the Sukkah. So we'll have a Sukkah celebration, excuse me, and barbecue. Kid service at 6 o'clock, but barbecue about 6:30, games and fun. And we'll have the lulavs up, down, was it north, south, east, west, etc. So it should be a good time. So again, happy high holidays for everybody, and sorry for the inconvenience tonight.
Michael, we also have a cemetery service.
Oh, I forgot about that. Absolutely. Forgot all about that. So on Sunday, September 12th at 12:30 p.m., Rabbi Hickman will be at Florida Memorial Gardens. And at 2 p.m., Rabbi Mayers will be at Fountainhead. So there will be services there this Sunday. So again, 12:30 p.m., Florida Memorial Gardens, 2 p.m. at Fountainhead. Fountainhead's in the south part of the county, correct?
It's in Palm Bay.
Palm Bay,
Yes.
okay. Florida Memorial Gardens on US 1.
Right. And the service will be at Mount Hebron, the Jewish part of that cemetery. Well, it looks like we actually did our Shabbat service. And we are all victims, so to speak, of technology. It's wonderful. It's amazing when it works great. And sometimes it doesn't, but we're doing very well, and we're very, blessed that we're able to do what we have done and bring so many people into our services from really all over the country. So we'll look forward to seeing all of you this coming Sunday or Wednesday night. We are going to have our kiddush, a little kiddush in Motzi out in the lobby. And there'll be some bread out there, and I hope all of you at home will enjoy a little schnapps and some challah to celebrate, maybe a little apple and honey to celebrate Rosh Hashanah and the Jewish New Year. So our closing song tonight is Return Again.
Return again. Return again, return to the land of your soul. return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again, return again, return again, return to the land of your soul.
Yivarech Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. May God's face shine on you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasein lecha shalom. May God grant you all the blessing and peace. Amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.